Toronto Maple Leafs are in Washington tomorrow and then home to a team that's off to a great start themselves in the Detroit Red Wings on Wednesday in Scotiabank Wednesday Night Hockey. News out of the Toronto Maple Leafs beyond the record is that Mitch Marner is practicing today on the fourth line. Connor Brown, who was on the fourth line but really plays with everybody, gets as much sight or more ice time with other lines than he does the fourth line. But he's moved up to that spot with Tyler Bozak and James Van Riemsdyk. Stats will tell you something. The eye test is another, and I always think you need a little bit of both before you form an opinion. But the eye test on Mitch Marner hasn't been favorable this year.
Yeah, it's been kind of blah for me watching him, and
Meh.
Oh yeah, meh. What is that? You watched the Emoji Movie
Yep.
with your kids?
Yep.
I know. Yeah, I watched it too. I mean, last year through the preseason and what he's going to be and what we're going to expect, and he was blowing our minds. He was blowing our minds, and right now, yeah, it's a meh. And we hear Babcock talk about work before skill. You put your work before your skill, and we're just not noticing him. Are we noticing Mitch Marner? And I think also it has to do also coming into your second year. I think mentally, I think it's something that Mitch has to work on here early, and he's still got 4 points in 5 games. So, he's not far off, but he needs to reboot.
Well, and last year probably as great a wave of talented rookies as there's been in any team in recent years. So you kind of got caught with the wow factor by a lot of them. And Mitch Marner was the highlight reel guy. Right, and even the first goal, his mom's in the restroom. Remember that? Just kind of the fun, funny thing there. And then he scores more and more. And he had the one or two plays that Michael Nylander's doing now. That William Nylander's doing now. He had 1 or 2 plays like that every game, and it's now Nylander that's kind of supplanted him. But like you mentioned, being the 10th guy, Connor Brown actually did well being the 10th guy. Mike Babcock doesn't have 4 lines. He's got 10 guys, and he's got the other center, whether it's Moore and Matt Martin. And Connor Brown got a lot of neat ice time, was 5th amongst forwards in ice time. So it's not like Mitch Marner's going to a traditional fourth line if that's where he's going to stick.
But as far as practice, all that stuff goes, Mike Babcock is very static with his lines over the last year and a bit with this group. He doesn't change. Nobody's changed that role of the 10th guy. That you look at the end, and there's a real disparity. That there's 2 guys. But this is a story. This is a story for Mitch Marner to be moved off that line. Of practice. I guarantee it will be after practice.
Well, it's a story already. But I mean, what's internally, it's a story about maybe a little bit on merit, and that's the way it should be. So if
he's getting a reminder.
He's
getting a reminder.
Well, and also Connor Brown's getting
to work harder,
rewarded.
But
Connor
Brown works hard.
But at the end of the game, if he's 5th in ice time among forwards,
what
that's
happens
not bad.
When you walk into the room and a pivotal player has a different color jersey on?
Oh, that's a dread every day. Well, it was for me coming into the room. I don't know.
Okay.
It might be probably a bigger shock.
Your jersey was in a separate room.
Yeah, I got stressed over with the trainers.
Yeah,
the safer for me. But I imagine it hits home a little harder.
Are you told
for a guy
beforehand?
that's unsuspecting?
Usually, or
well, sometimes you have a feeling and you come to the rink and you think about it all night, and then you come in and your line is the same, your jersey's the same. You're like, phew, I got one more day to survive here if I don't pick it up.
But how are you traditionally told that you're playing?
You come in the room and your jersey's a different color.
So that's the way it works.
Yeah. Your jersey's a different color. Or you come in the room, there's no jerseys yet, and then you're sitting there while guys are playing ping pong or horsing around or taping their sticks, and then the trainers come in late because the coach just gave them the lineup for practice, and he starts hanging up the jerseys, and you sit there watching him put the jerseys in your stall, and then you get the fourth
it's like a Rubik's Cube or
yeah,
something.
And you're like, oh, no, don't bring that one over here. Don't, And then, that's what happens. That's like that's day to day for, guys, especially guys in the bottom that are trying to survive, like third line, hang on the third line. Darn, I got a fourth line.
Okay, gossip people like Gordy and I, we're right in there. If that happens in the office, or you hear some rumblings, and there's always the, pss, pss, and then you're kind of afraid to go over and talk to that person.
Yeah, you avoid.
Okay, what's it like in the dressing room?
What, with the coach?
No, with the player that's Mitch.
Like, do they bust him?
No, everyone's just kind of quiet.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, nice color.
No, yeah,
nice
it happens.
Maroon's your color.
Yeah, everyone will be sitting in like the training room, and Mitch will be like probably in a stall, like just staring at the ground. And guys will be like, holy, Mitch has a purple jersey on. Did you see that? Like, oh man.